He would study the mask, the one who never reveals his hand until your kingdom is already gone. Machiavelli would have warned you. Misjudging your enemy is not ignorance. It is fatal. The psychopath never raises his voice. He studies you while you speak, mirrors your emotions, and gains your trust. He is cold but looks warm, empty but speaks with feeling. The sociopath shouts, threatens, breaks things in storms of impulse. One makes you flinch, the other makes you open up. You think danger must always look like chaos, but the psychopath teaches you otherwise. He uses charm as a weapon, empathy as bait, and silence as a net. That imbalance becomes leverage. That is the second difference. Not less, not rarely, nothing. A psychopath does not suppress emotion. He simply exists without it. No remorse, no empathy, no guilt. When he hurts you, it does not register. Not because he is cold-hearted like the reactive sociopath, but because there is no conscience inside to trigger regret. It is not broken, it is absent. That absence creates a vacuum where strategy and power grow without interference. The sociopath does feel. He has a conscience but ignores it. His emotions are unstable: rage, guilt, panic, regret, coming and going like weather. That is not calm. That is weaponized patience. Show a man what he is willing to lose and you will see what governs him. The sociopath is impulsive. He reacts. When challenged, he explodes without a second thought. The psychopath measures, waits, calculates the game before making the move. One is a bomb. The other is a sniper. Sociopaths do not fear consequences until it is too late. They will end a career, a relationship, a life just to prove a point. But the psychopath sees risk as a tool. Every move is part of a larger picture you cannot see until it is too late. And that picture is always about control. The sociopath does not plan. He reacts, governed by emotion, by triggers, by the constant need to respond to perceived slights. His reactions are fast, messy, and short-sighted. The psychopath does not react. He designs, calculates, plays a long game of deception and control, not because he is cautious, but because he is patient. Machiavelli would say he who controls perception controls power, and that is precisely what the psychopath builds. Perception, slowly, deliberately, like a shadow moving across time. Watch the sociopath in conflict. He escalates, shouts, blames, needs to feel in control. But that strength burns out quickly. He destroys alliances, forgets goals, changes his story depending on the emotion of the moment. His life is full of broken relationships and constant drama. He is not building anything. He is simply surviving the emotional storm inside himself, dragging everyone into the current. The psychopath weaponizes that truth completely. His chaos is too loud. His record follows him. He gets exposed again and again, because no matter how clever his lies, the heat of his own instability always melts the mask. But the psychopath wears the mask so well, people forget it is a mask at all. He is clean, well-dressed, educated, admired. He blends into the highest levels of society, not despite his disorder, but because of it. Sociopaths crave attention. They want to be seen, heard, validated, but their emotions betray them. Their rage surfaces in meetings. Their neediness bleeds into conversations. Eventually they burn the bridge, then blame everyone else for setting the fire. Machiavelli believed loyalty is not sacred. It is conditional, functional, and most dangerously of all, one-sided. A sociopath needs it, a psychopath does not. The sociopath surrounds himself with weak men, desperate allies, frightened followers because he feeds off the illusion of control. But that loyalty is brittle, built on fear and shared chaos. The moment someone challenges him, the whole structure wobbles. He rules through volatility, not respect, creating followers who obey for now, but wait for their chance to turn. The psychopath does not gather crowds. He makes people fear disappointment, fear exile, fear silence, conditioning them until they have forgotten what they actually think. But where the sociopath uses fear like a hammer, loud, messy, immediate, the psychopath wields it like a scalpel, clean, precise, devastating. The sociopath uses fear to dominate through yelling, glaring, threats that come too fast and too often. He controls by keeping people on edge, walking on eggshells, anticipating his moods. But his fear wears off. It desensitizes, and eventually people stop reacting. Or worse, they turn on him. The psychopath knows better. His fear comes from uncertainty. The silence after a mistake. The lack of reaction. The chilling calm in the face of betrayal. He never threatens. He makes you wonder if he will, and that wondering is where real intimidation lives. Machiavelli said it is better to be feared than loved, but only if the fear is maintained without hatred. He does not resist morality. He performs it, strategic charity, calculated apologies, public humility that costs him nothing. That is the eighth fracture, and perhaps the most unsettling. When the sociopath is exposed, he is cast out, fired, arrested, abandoned. His violence is too visible, his disorder too raw. Society reacts like a body expelling a toxin. But the psychopath is often promoted, celebrated, imitated, because his damage is hidden behind results, charisma, reputation. He does not look like a predator. He looks like a leader, a visionary, a man who gets things done. The sociopath self-destructs. The psychopath ascends. We vilify the erratic and the unstable, but we celebrate the cold-blooded strategist. That is the psychopath's talent, to alter reality not through emotion, but through infrastructure. The sociopath leaves behind ashes and headlines. The psychopath leaves behind empires and myths. Men like Pablo Escobar, emotionally volatile, obsessed with loyalty, capable of terrifying cruelty and sudden tearful generosity. He built an empire through fear, but could not sustain it. He trusted too easily, betrayed too quickly, reacted without thinking, and when the world came for him, he faced it alone, enraged. That is the sociopath's downfall. He does not just burn others, he burns himself. Contrast that with someone like Vladimir Putin, cold, calculating, emotionless. Every move deliberate, every alliance transactional. He does not explode. He waits, studies, infiltrates. Now that you know this, the only question left is, what will you become? It is about you. The psychopath and the sociopath are not just personalities in books or case studies. They walk among us, speak like us, work beside us, and some sit across from you at dinner. Machiavelli would say the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. The same is true for you. The most dangerous mistake people make is thinking they would know, that they could sense evil, feel darkness, spot a predator. But the psychopath relies on that illusion entirely. The sociopath may rattle the room, but the psychopath builds it around you, brick by brick, until you forget there was ever a way out.